evening. Sara Barnard here from the University of Maryland Extension, bringing you some tips on inexpensive planting of your seeds. It's this time of the year, spring. We need to get our seeds started so we can plant them in May, about May 15th after the frost is over. So one way we can do that is using cardboard egg cartons. So what you do is you get your cardboard egg carton, cut the lid off of it, get your topsoil. I'm using some Miracle-Gro garden soil, and just fill up the little cups in your egg cartons. These are almost like the same material that your little peat pots that you get at the garden center, and of course not as expensive. And we are reusing, recycling. Okay, so once you get your soil in your egg cartons, you're going to make little holes in the soil in each one to plant your seeds. Okay, so today I'm going to be planting some pepper seeds, and that because they are easy to transplant. Some vegetables you can transplant, others not so easily. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put some seeds in each one of those and cover them up. You only want about 1 or 2 seeds to a pot. If you get more than that and they come up, you can always separate them. Okay. Once you get them into your egg carton, you want to put a little bit of water on them. The water in this soil is already pretty moist, so I'm not going to add any more water to these. Okay? But you need to make sure that you do water your seeds. Because this is cardboard and it's porous, and the water's going to come down and soak through. So you want to maybe put this on a cookie sheet. It's too early to put the seeds out now, so you want to bring them in and out on a nice day. Bring your seeds outside. If it's a cold, rainy day, bring your seeds in, put them in a sunny window. So you want to make sure you use a cookie sheet, maybe a plastic tub, an old dish pan, something like that, so that the water, when it comes through and gets moist, it won't ruin your furniture. When you're ready to plant these and put them out into your garden, what you can do is take your utility knife. You're going to score down through your egg carton and maybe in across to divide them. Then maybe you might have to use some scissors also to get them apart so you don't disturb your plant. But once you get them into individual little cups, then you take that and you plant the whole thing into your garden. This will biodegrade, and so you just plant the whole little thing in the garden. After you know that it's not going to freeze anymore, usually around May 15th. Another thing that you can use to make your seed cups with is newspaper. So how we do that is we take a sheet of newspaper, 1 page. You take about a 15-ounce can, soup can, works well. This is a bean can. It's about 5.5 inches tall. So if it's about that tall, you don't have to do any measuring. Just fold your newspaper in half and then cut it in half. And you have a long strip. Next, you're going to take your can, you're going to place it not quite all the way to the top of your can. So you're going to leave a little space there at the top. And then you're just going to take it and roll it around the can. I like to use a little piece of tape. The directions on this didn't say anything about using tape, but I like to tape it. It holds it in place longer and it won't come apart. Okay, then you have some extra paper here at the bottom. All you do with that is fold it in on the bottom to make a bottom of your seed cup. There again, put a little piece of tape on the bottom to secure. Then take your can out and you have your little seed cup. Fill it with your dirt. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top. You want to leave a little bit of space, maybe about that far, in that, because you don't want it clear to the top. There again, take your seeds, make a hole take some of your seeds, put in there, cover it up, water it, and there again, once you've watered it, this is paper, it's going to get wet, and that you're going to maybe put it in your pan here. I have a little dish pan that I can set these in so that when they get wet, they're contained in there. Okay, so those are two inexpensive ways to start your seeds for the spring until you can get them into the garden. There again, most almanacs and farmers say about May 15th is usually the last frost. It all depends on the weather. You might have an early spring this year or summer, and you might be able to get them in the ground sooner. Some vegetables that like cold weather are lettuce, peas, and spinach. These are some things that you can plant right now, right into the ground, into your garden. If your garden plot is ready, you can plant these now. There again, you have to watch for cold nights and freezes because they too might freeze. So if you do plant your spinach in that now, and you know that one night we're going to get a freeze, you can actually make a little greenhouse topper out of an old water jug. So I just took a water jug here. There's a little line here around the thing. I just cut the bottom out of it and everything. And what you do is, on that cold night, and take this out and just put it right over your plant. You can have several in your garden. If it's a windy night and everything, this is plastic, it's going to blow away. You might want to put a stick down in here to hold it in, or some anchors to hold that on. In the morning, when the sun's coming up and everything, and you just take this and remove it from your plant. Do not leave this on all day because the sun will cook your plants. So you need to take it off. It's for nighttime to keep your plants from freezing. Another thing that you can do with your milk jug is cut around the handle here and around the scoop and make yourself a garden scoop to scoop your thing. If you do not have a store-bought shovel or trowel, you can make one from your plastic water jugs or milk jugs. Very easy, very inexpensive to make. Another thing that you can start maybe indoors that you might want is some parsley or herbs and everything. A flower pot like this is very good for herbs and that you can put in your windowsill. You might not need one quite this big, but you can start them in the house, and then you can put them outside if you wish, or you can leave them in the house. Another thing for cooking, for fresh herbs. My big pot here, later I'm going to plant my tomato seeds in this big pot. And what I've done is, in the bottom of here, up so far, I have put some pebbles or stone in the bottom of my pot. That is for drainage, and then I filled it up with soil. It's filled up to about here with soil. So that way when you water it, if you get too much water, especially if the pot is sitting outside and it rains, hopefully the stones will keep the water from the soil and it won't waterlog or flood your roots. So I'm going to plant my tomato seeds in here. As they start to come up, they will be crowded, and then I can, when they get a certain size, I can take them and transplant them into my garden or into my flower beds where I get some sun. Probably one tomato seed or tomato plant I will leave in this pot and set on my porch and in the sun. So a pot this size will handle about one tomato plant. So I hope some of these tips were helpful, and that for you to get your spring seedlings started and your gardens this year. Everybody's kind of cooped up right now, so we want to make sure that we get enough of our fresh fruits and vegetables to help our immune systems to stay healthy. And so there again, I hope this was helpful, and happy gardening.